Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a card that I created for a very special friend who's making a big move to a big city. And I am using the brand new Concord 9th Downtown Stacks bundle. Now this bundle features a set of dies that has all of these, not only solid dies, but detailed dies to create a really fun downtown scene. And a stamp set with a bunch of sentiments that coordinate with some of the dies in the stamp set. And these would pair perfectly with the Home for the Holidays stamps and dies previously released from Concord 9th. But today, I'm going to feature this fun downtown scene. So I'm starting out with the more solid backer images from the die set. And I'm die cutting them from some Concord 9th mushroom cardstock. And I'm going to die cut them a couple of times because there's a couple of buildings that I may want to use more than once. And when I start putting this together, I just want to have all of the things that I need ready to go. Now I've also die cut some of the roof lines and that sort of thing from the mushroom cardstock as well. And I'm kind of sorting all of these pieces in this vanity organizer tray that I picked up from Home Goods. And I find it really convenient for kind of sorting all of these different die cuts. Now for the detail or the front parts of the buildings, I'm die cutting those from several colors of Concord 9th cardstock. And once again, I have those sorted in this vanity tray. Now I wanted to create a beautiful watercolor sky for my backdrop. And so I am using the Concord 9th liquid watercolors in Ballet Slipper, Grapefruit, Sea Glass, and Peacock. And I'm going to create a beautiful watercolor backdrop, and then I'm going to die cut that. So you'll notice that I'm only using a drop of each of these colors, and it was more than enough to complete my background. And I have some Artistico Fabriano extra white watercolor cardstock. I will have it linked below. There's a lot of words in this name of this cardstock. And I am just adding some clean, clear water to the surface of the watercolor cardstock, and then I'm dropping in color. I'm just doing a very loose background because in the end, I'm going to die cut this anyway. Now, one thing I probably should have done, and I did not do, was tape this watercolor cardstock to a board because it's going to curl up on me and I'm going to make a mess. But in the end, you live and you learn. I was just trying to do things the quick and easy way, and sometimes that ends up biting you in the rear, you know? So I have a layer of all four of these colors down on the watercolor cardstock, and I dried that. And then I'm going in and I'm adding some more layers of color. And that's going to give me that layered look, and it's going to give me some harsh lines. Now, before I was adding this onto wet watercolor cardstock, this time I'm adding it onto dry watercolor cardstock right over the top with a damp brush and kind of using water to kind of spread out the color. So before, you'll notice that the color, right when I put it down, it bloomed out. This time it stayed more in place and I had to kind of work it out with the damp brush. And that's because I was working on dry watercolor cardstock, not the wet watercolor cardstock that I did the first layer. Now I've taken this arch die and I've die cut my watercolor panel. And now I'm arranging some of the buildings just loosely onto this little arch that I created. And once I kind of figured out how I liked everything, I went ahead and started assembling the buildings. Now, I felt like the mushroom cardstock was super harsh for these light colored buildings that I'm creating. So I went ahead and die cut the solid building backer piece from Vellum as well. And I'm layering that between the colored cardstock that will be the face of my building and the mushroom cardstock. So it's just kind of softening back the darkness of those windows. Now, if you wanted to start with a lighter gray to begin with, you could absolutely do that, but I had already had these die cut, and so I just found a way to make it work. Now onto this tall kind of Empire State Building. It's an Empire State of Mind, you know? I'm adding a little building topper piece, and I'm adding this little pointed piece. And once I have all of my buildings assembled, you can see I have a pink one and a grapefruit one and a little peacock colored one. I'm going to start adding them onto my arch. Now, this card really took me on a journey, and I had lots of changes of heart along the way, and that's okay because sometimes creativity is like that. Sometimes you're working on something and you're inspired to do something a little differently, and that's definitely what happened on this card today. So you'll see I have all of these gray roofs. I have the gray railings on the outside of the building. And at this point, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do a couple of vellum buildings in the background? And that would kind of look like they were kind of fading away into the distance. And so I die cut the medium-sized building twice from vellum, so the solid piece. And then I die cut the front detail portions from vellum as well. And I'm using my little Xyron sticker maker here to add adhesive all over the back of these detail portions of the building and laying those right on top of each other. So it's 2 layers of vellum. I'm adhering those, and then I had to kind of rip up a few of my pieces to kind of tuck these behind the buildings that were already there, but that's okay. Nothing was ruined. And then I added a little bit of liquid adhesive where it would be hidden behind the other buildings to adhere these vellum buildings to the arch. Now I'm going to work on some of the sentiments. And there are several of these like 3-layered curved sentiments in the stamp set, and they coordinate with the banner die that's in the die set. So I've arranged those along with the little shop names onto my mini Misty, and then I'm inking them up with some Concord 9th mushroom ink and stamping those onto some white cardstock. Then I'm going to grab the little banner die from the die set, and there's also like this little stacked up rectangles die in the die set as well, and that die cuts all of those little shop names. So there's one that says cafe, one that says bakery, one that says pizza, so you can pick whatever kind of shop you want to have there in the front. I ended up picking cafe in the end, and you can see I have that little congrats banner kind of looped from one building to the other. Now I die cut some trees from some craft cardstock and some evergreen cardstock, layered those up and added them to my scene. And then I added a couple of little gold thread bows on either side of that congrats banner. And I'm just adding some little details here. Now, I liked this card, but I didn't love it. And I thought, what does this card need to make my heart sing? And the answer was more gold. And so I die cut some of the roof pieces from some gold cardstock and started snipping off little pieces and adding them to those mushroom roofs that were already there. And these gold details really did finish off the card for me and make it absolutely perfect in my mind. Now I used a diagonal background cover plate for my card front. This is from Concord 9th as well. And I added all of these layers onto my top folding A2 size card base using some foam adhesive. And that finishes off my card today featuring the brand new Downtown Stacks bundle from Concord 9th. I love the way that this turned out, and I think it's absolutely perfect for my friend. I cannot believe that she just is picking up and moving within like a couple of weeks to another country, another city, and I'm so proud of her, and I know she's super happy to be getting back to where she feels like she belongs. So I'm super happy for her. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to the coordinating blog post. I will have that linked below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. And if you loved this video, I would love it if you would share it with a friend. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.